It was February 10th, 2012. Madison Square Garden was on fire. A young, unknown player wearing number 17 stepped onto the court. Jeremy Lin, a Harvard grad who'd been sleeping on his brother's couch just weeks before. That night, he scored 38 points against Kobe Bryant's Lakers. The world called it Linsanity. But how did a player no one wanted become a global sensation overnight? And why did it all disappear so fast? This is the story of Jeremy Lin, the man who rose, shined, and fell just as quickly. If you love real stories that inspire, make sure to subscribe to Nylon and hit that like button. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. The Unlikely Beginning. Jeremy Lin's story didn't start like most NBA stars. He wasn't tall or muscular, and he didn't come from a basketball family. He was born on August 23, 1988, in California to Taiwanese immigrant parents who cared more about school than sports. But Jeremy had a different dream. He wanted to play basketball. In Palo Alto, he spent hours shooting hoops in his driveway and studying players like Michael Jordan and Steve Nash. At his high school, he led his team to a state championship and won Northern California Player of the Year. But when college scouts came, no big school wanted him. Many didn't believe an Asian American kid could make it in Division I basketball. So Jeremy chose Harvard, a school known for books, not basketball, hoping hard work would open the door that talent alone couldn't. Chapter 2. The Harvard Underdog. At Harvard, Jeremy Lin became a real standout. He averaged about 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists a game, numbers that would catch anyone's eye. But somehow the NBA still didn't notice. Scouts said he was talented, but they questioned everything else: his strength, his speed, and whether his game could survive in the league. And for some, it was clear they couldn't look past one thing: his race. Then came the 2010 NBA draft. Jeremy sat at home with his family, watching and waiting. One by one, names were called: 10, 20, 40, 60. By the end of the night, every pick was gone, except him. Jeremy Lin wasn't drafted. It was heartbreaking. But it wasn't the end. Chapter 3. The Struggle to be Seen. But Jeremy Lin didn't give up. He joined the Dallas Mavericks Summer League team and impressed everyone with his hustle and defense. Soon after, his hometown team, the Golden State Warriors, signed him. It felt like a dream come true. But reality was different. The Warriors hardly played him. Most nights he sat on the bench or traveled with the NBA's Development League, playing in small gyms with little crowds. Off the court, things were tough too. He still lived with his family to save money and worried every day about losing his spot. And after one season, that fear came true. The Warriors cut him. The Houston Rockets gave him another chance, but before the season even started, they cut him too. By the end of 2011, Jeremy had been waived twice, and his NBA dream was slipping away. Chapter 4. The Last Chance. New York Knicks. Then came the New York Knicks. They signed Jeremy in December 2011 as just another backup guard. Nothing special, just to fill the roster. By then, he was 23 years old, sleeping on his brother's couch in New York, broke, and close to running out of chances. The Knicks were struggling, even with stars like Carmelo Anthony and Amar Stoudemire. Fans were upset, and coach Mike D'Antoni was desperate for something to change. And then, on February 4th, 2012, everything changed. Chapter 5. The Birth of Linsanity. That night, the Knicks played the Nets, and out of desperation, coach Mike D'Antoni gave Jeremy real minutes. No one expected anything big. But Lin shocked everyone. He scored 25 points, grabbed 5 rebounds, and had 7 assists, leading the Knicks to a win. Then came the next game, and the next, and he just kept shining. 28 points against the Jazz, 23 and 10 assists against the Wizards. And then, the game that changed everything. 38 points against Kobe Bryant's Lakers. Madison Square Garden went wild. Fans screamed his name, Jeremy Lin. People who never watched basketball before were suddenly tuning in. Social media blew up. Linsanity was everywhere. His jersey became the bestseller in the NBA, even more than LeBron's or Kobe's. In just 2 weeks, Jeremy Lin went from being almost cut to becoming a global superstar. Chapter 6. The symbol of hope. What made Linsanity special wasn't just the stats. It was the story behind them. Jeremy Lin didn't look like the usual NBA star. No big sponsors, no fancy background, not even his own place to stay in New York. Yet he went out there and beat some of the best players in the game. For Asian Americans, he became a symbol of pride. For anyone who's ever been doubted, he became a symbol of hope. He proved that with faith, hard work, and persistence, you can break barriers, even the ones built by stereotypes. Chapter 7. The Downhill Turn. But just as quickly as it started, Linsanity began to fade. After weeks of amazing games, teams learned how to guard Lin. Then injuries hit. First knee pain, then a torn meniscus that ended his season early. The Knicks made the playoffs, but without Lin, they didn't last long. That summer, he became a free agent. The Houston Rockets, the same team that once cut him, offered $25 million for 3 years. The Knicks could have matched it, but they didn't. And just like that, Jeremy Lin left New York, the city that had made him a star. Chapter 8. The Pressure of Expectations. In Houston, Jeremy Lin wasn't the underdog anymore. He was now a big name, the face of a new Rockets era, and everyone expected him to shine. But the pressure was heavy. Soon after he arrived, Houston signed James Harden, and Lin was pushed into a smaller role. He still had some great games and loyal fans, but the magic of Linsanity was gone. Over the next few years, Lin moved from team to team, the Lakers, Hornets, Nets, Hawks, and Raptors. Each stop came with new struggles, injuries, less playing time, and the same battle to prove himself again and again. Chapter 9. The Fall and the Silence. By 2019, Jeremy Lin was no longer part of NBA talks. He had just helped the Toronto Raptors win their first championship, becoming the first Asian American to ever win an NBA title. It should have been the best moment of his life, but Lin barely played during the playoffs. Most of the time, he watched from the bench. Later that year, in an emotional speech, he admitted he felt like the NBA had given up on him. "I've hit rock bottom," he said. It was heartbreaking. The same man who once inspired millions now felt completely forgotten. Chapter 10. A New Chapter Overseas. Still, Jeremy Lin's story didn't end there. In 2019, he joined the Beijing Ducks in China, where fans welcomed him like a hero. For the first time in years, he felt like a star again. He played great, scoring over 20 points per game, and became one of the most loved players in the league. Later, he played in Taiwan and other leagues, using his story to inspire young Asian athletes. Even though he never made it back to the NBA, his legacy was already set in history. Chapter 11. The Impact Beyond the Court. Jeremy Lin's story was never just about basketball. It was about faith, strength, and breaking barriers. He faced stereotypes his whole career, people doubting his skill, toughness, and place in the NBA. But he kept proving them wrong. He opened doors for Asian players everywhere, showing that talent has no color. Off the court, he used his voice to speak against racism, especially during the rise of anti-Asian hate. Jeremy Lin became more than an athlete. He became a symbol of hope and courage. Chapter 12. Why it faded. So what really caused Jeremy Lin's fall? It wasn't one big thing. It was a mix of injuries, timing, and the fast pace of the NBA. Linsanity was a rare moment where everything clicked. The right team, the right time, and the right story. But the league changes fast. New stars come in, and if you can't keep up, you get left behind. Lin didn't have the power or size of LeBron or Durant. His game was built on skill and confidence, and injuries slowly took that away. Still, those few magical weeks left a mark that will never fade. Chapter 13. Remembering Linsanity. Ask any basketball fan where they were during Linsanity and they'll remember it. Because it wasn't just about basketball, it was about hope. It was the story of a kid who wasn't supposed to make it, who looked different, and still changed the game. Jeremy Lin reminded everyone that sports are more than talent. They're about belief. And sometimes believing in yourself when no one else does can change everything. Chapter 14. The Legacy Lives On. Today, Jeremy Lin still inspires people everywhere. He mentors young players, talks openly about mental health, and shares his faith. He's not remembered just for being a great player, but for being real. Someone who kept going even when the spotlight was gone. His story shows that success isn't about fame or money. It's about purpose and how you face failure. Jeremy Lin rose. He fell, but he never stopped believing. And that's what makes his story timeless. Chapter 15. What Linsanity really means. Linsanity wasn't just about basketball. It was about hope. It showed that sometimes life gives you one small chance to prove yourself. And if you're ready, that moment can change everything. Jeremy Lin's career didn't last the way fans hoped, but his story will always inspire. Because not every rise needs to last forever. Some are meant to remind us that miracles can still happen when we least expect them. Jeremy Lin's journey, from going undrafted to leading the New York Knicks under the bright lights of Madison Square Garden, will always remind us what faith and hard work can do. He showed the world that even when everyone doubts you, heart and belief can still break barriers. His rise and fall isn't a story of failure. It's a story of courage and the will to keep going no matter what. Because sometimes, even when the lights go out, the memory of that magic, that feeling, never really fades. Do you remember where you were during Linsanity? And what would you do if you got just one moment to prove yourself to the world? If you enjoyed this story and want more inspiring moments like this, subscribe to Nylon and hit the like button. It really helps us share more stories that remind us what dreams are made of. Thanks for watching. And remember, some dreams echo forever.